a year. User. Shout outs to the intro. Welcome to Rich Talks, podcast where we do music commentary, cultural commentary, deep dives, and just interesting topics in general. I'm your host, Ankh, aka Ree. Now let's get into it. Yo, so I had a question for y'all, like a real question. Who's really the you know what I'm saying? Like, who's really the GOAT? Who's really the greatest of all time? Let's like really talk about it. Cause, you know, like the subject itself, it's one of those, it's pretty subjective. Like, it's fairly subjective. Like, one can argue that due to there being like a commonly agreed upon criteria for what makes a person the GOAT of said area of expertise. I mean, like, whether that's like science or sports or other things that we like to equate to greatness, is status of, like, you know what I mean? So obviously we're gonna start this episode off with like, who's really the GOAT of hip hop? Like, and we're going to use some specific criteria, right? Because I'm looking to find who we can say is the consensus objective greatest of all time in hip hop, and we're gonna base it off of the following metrics. So, category number one, lyrical prowess and technical skills. So, this category, this is a very important factor, obviously, in discussion of the greatest of all time. Like, after all, this criteria kind of includes the person's songwriting ability, like how complex are their rhyme schemes, their wordplay, their metaphors, their storytelling. Like, basically, this includes like pretty much their overall pen game. And if someone doesn't really fit in that top 1% of the craft in this area, like, I think they absolutely should not even be considered for the greatest of all time list here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and category number two, delivery and flow. Now, this one, I kind of feel like it kind of leans heavily on some subjectivity, right? But you know what? Yeah, because there's just something to be said for like certain artists that you can kind of hear them on a song and it just feels like they're perfectly suited, perfectly matched for either that particular track or just in the profession that they chose. Like, they're perfect for rap music, you know what I mean? Like, you know how like some people are told that they have like the perfect voice for radio, and you know, can't the same be said for someone having the perfect delivery or flow for hip hop, you know? Or do y'all think that it's just one of those? No, like, I don't think this one's a reach. Like, you might consider this category of reach maybe because it's very subjective in the determination process. But obviously, I feel like when it comes to flow and delivery, not every rapper that is spoken about in the context of greatest of all time, they're not always universally loved across the board, you know? Like, I can use Drake and Kendrick as examples, right? Like, I actually hear from a lot of people that they don't even listen to Kendrick because they don't like the sound of his voice, like speaking of voices. Don't you guys remember when DMX, RIP to him, he's probably one of the most popular visual examples that we've seen of someone like publicly just shitting on somebody based on like the sound of their voice. You know, like, remember when he said what he said about Drake, right? Like, he said he didn't like Drake. He's like, I don't like his fucking voice. I don't like the way he talks about. I don't like what he talks about. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he walks. Nothing. Like, you know, shit like that, right? Y'all remember that? But I don't know. I digress. I do feel like it does lean heavily on subjectivity for this particular category, but I still think it's this category is apropos, right? Moving on to number three, which is the body of work and discography, right? I feel like this category is important, but not in the sense that whoever puts out the most wins, but more so in the sense that those that we always discuss in the GOAT conversation, like one aspect that they always tend to have in common is a consistent catalog of quality music. And that's not limited only to like classic albums, albeit that's a very, very, very important metric to have. Other non-commercial releases can still kind of count too, like having strong mixtapes or singles, or even just having like significant and memorable guest features. You know what I mean? I think it counts. And then we get to number 4, which I feel like it kind of ties into number 3 a little bit. Their impact and influence. So anyone who is brought up in a GOAT conversation should, at the minimum, have like some sort of significant impact on the genre or the culture. Like this is for artists that they not only inspire other artists or like create trends or styles for the up and comers to run with, but like these artists are also like the same ones that kind of push the culture forward and beyond the confines of what defined it initially. You know what I mean? Like now if the GOAT conversation was solely based on artists of this caliber in this category, you would actually be surprised at like the names that you could pull out, the names that you could even consider in this regard. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, you could consider names like if we're talking strictly on impact and influence, you could throw names like Gucci Mane in there. Yeah,
what?
I know, like that sounds wild, right? But I'll elaborate more on it a little bit later on in the episode. But you'll hopefully you guys will understand my reasoning when we do get there. So category number 5, their longevity and consistency. Now, simply having the ability to remain relevant, which, to be honest with you, I think it's a lot easier to achieve in the current era that we live in than it was in the past, because nowadays you can connect with like any and everyone from just the palm of your hand, right? But I don't say that to like negate or diminish the amount of dedication and consistency that someone has to have in order to maintain that over a long career, because whether you're in the modern era or in the past, hard work is still hard work, and you have to be dedicated. You have to be so, I don't know, like one-minded in your reasoning or your thought process in making something consistent and lasting a long time, because obviously consistency leads to greater results, right? All right, so the next category I had for the criteria, category number 6 is commercial success and sales. So I didn't really want to include this category, if I'm being honest with you guys. But since we're trying to aim to be objective, right? I do feel it's important to also factor in commercial success, such as album sales, chart positions, and hits, right? Although the reason I didn't want to include album sales in this particular category, you know what I mean, is because, again, like in this new streaming modern era where digital sales numbers can be manipulated using like botting methods to drive up numbers, which basically kind of skews the true number of like true listeners of your or true consumers of your music or your content, right? Thereby it kind of falsely elevates certain individuals into the discussion over others who I feel would have been more deserved in that regard, right? But again, we're trying to be objective here, so we're not trying to be ethical here. We're just trying to be objective. So it just seems like ethics might be out the window on this one.
What?
And lastly, category number 7. Yeah, we got 7 categories to determine who is the greatest of all time objectively. 7, guys. All right. So the last category is critical acclaim and peer recognition. So like having the respect of your fellow elites and basically an overall positive reception from fans and critics and media outlets. These things all play a major role when it comes to solidifying GOAT status, as subjective as that can be, you know? Right, so now that we've kind of established the categories, let's go through each individual one and see if we can kind of come up with like a consensus on which artists are seen as top contenders, and hey, maybe we can tally up the ones who appear in the most categories and why, and then we'll basically come to like a consensus, I guess, right? Like, now obviously, as much as I'm trying to be as objective as possible in this, there's definitely going to be a level of subjectivity involved, because of course I am biased towards some artists than I am towards others. So it is what it is, but I'm going to try, you know? All right. So now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, let's go. Category number 1. So once again, we got category number 1, which is lyrical prowess and technical skills. So like when you think about the greatest in hip hop, one of the first and most important aspects to consider in a person's is basically a person's own lyrical prowess and technical skills, right? Specifically that, right? Like when because when we think of both the greatest of all time, right? It's simply like when you're thinking of the greatest of all time, right? Just simply based on this category. Category number 1, based on lyrical prowess and technical skills, right? What rap artists generally come to mind to the masses? Like, of course, you're obviously going to hear names like Rakim. Shout outs to the microphone fiend Rakim. Spread the word, cause he's in EFFECT, a smooth operator operating correctly. Alright, I gotta stop. Like, often he's widely regarded as like the godfather of lyrical rap, right? Or also known as your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. You know, like basically the first rapper to even be coined the title of God MC. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Of course, you have to have him in the list. Like, you can't not mention the man who coined the term God MC, right? The only other artist that's used God MC besides Rakim is Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? So who else do we got? We got Nas. And guys, come on. Don't sleep on Nas, eh? I never sleep, cause sleep is the cousin of death. Beyond the walls of intelligence, life is defined. I'm gonna stop. I'm being an idiot. Like, you absolutely cannot have a discussion on lyrical prowess and technical skills in hip hop without this man's name being in the conversation. Of course, come on. Eminem, yup. He's absolutely sicker than a Tupac dedication to Biggie. Like, now you know, I'm kind of using like some of these artists' own lyrics in like this to kind of big them up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nah, for real, that white boy is easily, hands down, the greatest white rapper to ever grace the stage in our lifetime. And shout outs to him. For real, like, what other white rapping artist, musician, if you will, that raps, white musician that raps well, has done it better than Eminem lyrically, right? Who else? Who else can we add to the list? Notorious B.I.G. Is usually mentioned, obviously. I think I already said Jay-Z, of course. Andre 3000, Black Thought from The Roots. I already said Rakim, right? Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, Kendrick Lamar in more recent times kind of gets his name thrown out there a lot. Like, shoot, honestly, in my time, like getting names, like I was doing some, like from doing research on episode 1, like I did a couple of small polls here and there, right? And a name that I was actually surprised to see pop up, albeit it was very rare that it did show up, but the fact that it did show up on a greatest of all time list, Redman, you know, who after I thought about it, he's actually, like, seriously, he's a lyrical juggernaut, guys. Like, this man is very good. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we're talking strictly just lyrical prowess and technical skill, Redman is definitely, he should definitely be in the conversation for one of the greatest lyricists in rap history. You know what I'm saying? You know, like a lot of your favorite rappers, they love Reggie Noble's pen, man. Like, his pen game is top tier for sure. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm gonna be on this topic for a while, aren't I? Last name I'll mention in this category for greatest rapper of lyrical prowess and technical skill. This one's really, and if you know, you know. Right? And ironically, I think I saw this brother's name pop up the most when I did the research from simply the category of just lyricists, right? And I'm talking, like, I did this poll with people who are just like, you know, like backpack rappers, like people who just listen to back rap, conscious, like everything. I tried to hit as many different groups of people as I could. But I was surprised to see this name pop up so many times, right? I gotta include MF Doom on here, man. Like, I kid you not. Metal Face Doom. Telling you, like, Doom has always had, like, these odd, vague references that he'd rap in his verses that you'd actually have to, like, listen a few times to realize how complex his bars actually were. Like when he rapped, he rapped something crazy. He's like, he'd rather eat a sandwich salad. What did he say again? Hold on. He said he'd rather eat a sandwich salad. It might need a salt like your man's bland ballad. Let me read that for you again. He'd rather eat a sandwich salad. It might need a salt like your man's bland ballad. You know, like there's actually like a few double meanings behind those lines, you know? And we can get a little bit deep too. Like, for example, this is what I got from it, right? Eating a sandwich salad would be one of the most torturous things you can do to yourself, bro. Like, what? But Doom was basically saying that he'd rather put himself through that, eating a sandwich salad, than to acquiesce to the shady business practices of the music industry, you know? And if they kept pushing him, then he might need, like, he'll take it in, but it won't be in the way that you want. You know what I mean? Like that, because, like, basically saying assault in your man's bland ballads. Assault a salt, like, right? Salt for your food there, you know, the sandwich. I'm going too far, guys. Like, I really like MF Doom, but goddamn, I just had to throw that in there. R.I.P. MF Doom, man. Like, I really gotta say, he's definitely one of the best, and I think he deserves his flowers for it. You know, yeah. Even if I catch flack for it, like, I'm still giving Metal Face Doom his flowers, because well deserved. Now, everyone I mentioned just now, I say absolutely fits in the category of like being very lyrical, right? But let's kind of define what we're talking about when we say lyrical, right? Because you know, sometimes it can refer to like different things, and in this case, by lyrical, we're talking about having complex rhyme schemes, having dense metaphors, having a vivid, having a well explained or vivid storytelling ability, I guess, and basically, and even having emotional nuance, right? So you know what? Like, here's what we'll do. We'll put a point for like all the rappers that I just mentioned in this category. So like, we'll essentially say that they all get 1 point, and now they're part of the GOAT conversation. Now they're on the tier list, right? So let me throw up the tier list on here, right? So I'm not gonna categorize them yet. I'm just gonna throw up the tier list for you guys so you can see the tiers that I have ranked here, you know. All right. Now, so let's move on to category number 2, delivery and flow. Once again, I gotta preface this one with the fact that this one is heavily reliant on subjective reasoning, guys, because some are just, again, like, some are just more liked than others. Like, you're not gonna like everyone's voice. Just some people just have better voices for the position than others do, you know. But we're going to try to make a case for the artists with the best flow and delivery, right? All right, so let's just throw in the ring our potential contenders for greatest flow delivery, right? We'll start with the ones that are at least a majority of the consensus would say are in the conversation, right? I'm gonna start with Notorious B.I.G., of course, because he fits perfectly into this. To me, it's beyond obvious to have him in this category because the man literally had one of the smoothest, most effortless sounding flows in all of hip-hop. Like, I was about to say effortlessness. Like, what's wrong with you? That's not even a word. Flows in hip-hop. The man was able to stay on beat while making sure that you could still hear every rhyme that he spit. And the craziest part of all of that was the majority of the time, the man was simply freestyling his verses, dog. Like, yo, that is crazy. And that is skilled. Like, that is skilled right there. Another one from category 1 that I like to throw in the mix is, of course, Rakim Allah, like the God MC, man. He's known as one of the pioneers of complex rhyme patterns, and he's sometimes regarded as the creator of flow in rap, you know, because Rakim has been long considered as one of the greatest flowers in hip-hop. Like, long considered. Even before, like, I'm telling you, man, that's why he's known as some of y'all favorite rappers' favorite rapper. Or maybe your favorite rapper's favorite rapper's favorite rapper, you know? Because depends how young you are, right? And I definitely gotta add Nas in here again. Like, yo, the man's flow is just literally timeless, man. Like, Illmatic to Stillmatic to God's Son, Lost Tape. Bro, the man's flow is just consistent across all the projects and has never switched up. Nas is undeniable. Like, I'm gonna say that straight up. Nas is undeniable. Who else? You'd say Jay-Z, Cool G Rap, Method Man, of course, like the greatest flower in the Wu-Tang Clan, the most versatile flow in the entire Wu-Tang Clan. You have to have Method Man in there in the conversation. Jadakiss, I'll throw in there. Yeah, Jadakiss is nice. He's nice. Mos Def is smooth as hell. Big L had an amazing delivery. Like, he always had like these clean transitions between like his words and the diction. Like, I mean, if you haven't listened to Ebonics by Big L, then why are we even talking? Like, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, y'all. Like, I'm stupid. Slick Rick's gotta be on there. Black Thought for sure. Yeah, Black Thought from the Roots. Like, the way he just takes over tracks, man. Like, I can't say enough good things about Black Thought. Like, he is amazing. Andre 3000 with his abstract delivery, he's always been unique and just like pulls in the listener. Like, the listener has to listen when Andre is on the mic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Who else? I mean, like, there's several people that I could throw in there for honorable mention, but like, these are, to me, the strongest candidates for this category specifically. You know what I'm saying? All right, so category number 3. This one's body of work and discography. Okay, so for this category, an easy translation of it would be something like, okay, let me just simplify it, right? Because we can go into all kinds of different tangents with like body of work and discography and whose is better than whose and this, that, and the third. But like, you know what? When it actually comes down to it, like, it's basically about who has the most classic albums. Like, this category is really just like who has the most classics, right? Like, this category might get, I know this category is going to get very controversial for like some of the selections I'm about to note here.
You're a victim.
But it is what it is, right? So when it actually comes down to it, you guys are gonna be crazy. You guys are just gonna come at me for this one, but I believe the rapper that is widely considered to have the most classic albums in hip hop is Kanye West.
Nani? What?
Yeah. Like, guys, it's Kanye West. Like, the reason being that, like, whether you're a fan or a critic of the man, like, we can all agree and we do understand that Kanye has always produced high quality music. And I think it can be argued that he has at least, I'm going to say at least, this is on the low end, guys, Kanye West has 8 classic albums under his
What?
At least 8. All right, let's list them. College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, 808s and Heartbreak, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, 808s and Heartbreak. Did I say 808s and Heartbreak? I did, right? The Life of Pablo, and I'm gonna say Watch the Throne with Jay-Z, man. Like, I think that counts. Did I even say 8? Okay, maybe 7. I'm probably forgetting one, but I mean, that's the ones that are coming off the top of my head. But like, even in regards to that, like, I remember when 808s like first dropped, right? Like, a lot of people were critiquing it, saying that they didn't like it. It was too experimental. It was weird. It was emotional. Years later, these same people were calling it timeless. They're calling it classic. Like, you know, a lot of like how a classic album works is how well it ages, right? And one of the best measures of well-aged music is when the song triggers like powerful memories or powerful emotions in you. And Kanye has had that in spades with like a lot of his projects, man. Like, even to this day, when somebody just drops Jesus Walks, like, everyone just remembers where were you at when you first heard the song Jesus Walks? Or like, doesn't it bring you back to the first time you saw the video of Jesus Walks, or the 3 different videos that he had of Jesus Walks? Guys, like, you see what I mean? Like, look at the tangent I'm going on just from like the one song example that I'm using, right? But yeah, going further. Also, this may sound like a wild take, but A Tribe Called Quest should definitely be included here. Like, they arguably have the most classic albums as a group in hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have People's Instinctive Travels and the Paths of Rhythm. What is wrong with me today? Wow. I said People's Instinctive Travels and the Paths of Rhythm. Their debut album, right? That was absolutely a classic. Like, I don't think anyone can deny that. Or my favorite Tribe album ever, The Midnight Marauders. They also had the Low End Theory. That one, the Low End Theory is a close second to me. After Midnight Marauders, I think the Low End Theory is like a close second. They also had the Love Movement. That's another classic. We're already at 4, guys. Beats, Rhymes, and Life was dope. that's 5. And of course, which one was it? We Got It From Here. Thanks for the Service. Like, bruh, that's a lot of classic albums, right? Like, come on. But if we're mentioning groups, like, man, you know, I gotta mention Outkast, like, in this list, man. Like, the ATLiens, Aquemini, like, some people say Southern Playalistic Music album is also classic. I thought it was very solid, but I'd say I think Outkast had 2 very solid classic albums that can't be questioned. The rest of them, I mean, Speakerboxxx Love Below, that's a double album though. I don't know how you can really, I'm not sure how you can like quantify the classic title for a double album, because it's literally like 2 separate albums technically, but they're pushing it as one album in a way. Anyway, you see, that's why I'm not going to include that one in there. But you know, some groups that I think should have honorable mention in here might as well, right? Since we're talking about groups right now. Wu-Tang Clan's debut album, Enter the 36 Chambers. Like, honestly, still to me, one of the best top to bottom projects ever. Like, the skits, the freaking, the production, all the freaking bars after bars after bars, the concepts, the realness. Come on, man. Top to bottom. One of the best projects ever to date, still. The clips with Lord Willin and Hell Hath No Fury. I don't know, man. This new album, Let God Sort 'Em Out, is definitely trending towards classic album levels to me. Like, to me. To me, the clips might have 3 classic albums right now. 3, right? But let's go back to the individuals, right? So, after Kanye, I think the closest ones that compete in terms of number of classic albums would be Jay-Z, who arguably has at least 5 classics. Specifically, Reasonable Doubt, which to this date might be like the greatest Jay-Z album of all time. Like, he also had The Blueprint, which is an undeniable classic, the Black Album, the Life and Times of Sean Carter Volume 2. Come on, some people might like to throw American Gangster in there, or maybe even 444 in there, which can be debatable, but like, we have at least 4 absolutely undeniable classics tied to Jay-Z, right? And of course, Nas. Come on, Nas. Like, the one thing with Nas though is the one thing that people's issue with Nas, I should say, was at least earlier on in his career, was with the beat selection, right? Like, that's what they would say. But like, this guy came up under a Large Professor. I had no issues with Live at the Barbecue's beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it too boom bap for some people? Maybe, or, you know, because I didn't really understand what they meant by he's a terrible beat selector, because he skated on tracks every time, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, Nas' discography for classic albums, because of the critics that claim he's a terrible beat selector, his classic album discography has always been highly debated, right? However, it is universally agreed upon that he does have at least 3, right? He's got Illmatic, It Was Written, and Stillmatic. Now, if I'm being honest, truly, me personally, me. This is just Unk, aka Reed, talking. And this is just my subjective thoughts on this. Again, take it with the grain of salt because we're just going. This is a side note from the actual tier list that we're dealing with. This is just a side note, just me as a subjective fan, you know. This has nothing to do with the criteria, but for me, as a Nas fan, the man has like 7 classic albums.
You're a victim.
Fight me. 7 classics, yes. Nah. But for real, to me, it's Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Godson. Yes, there are so many fire tracks on Godson, and yet people will downplay it or say it's not a classic because there's a song like I Can on there, or some people didn't like The Cross, but Made You Look, y'all still will bump Made You. Nah, you know what? I'm going off. I'm sorry. What did I say? I said Godson. The Lost Tapes, King's Disease 3, and Magic. Yeah. Those are his classics to me, guys. Don't bite my head off.
You're a victim.
Now listen, this category is obviously gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be obvious, but I feel like it's going to be the most debated about category of all the categories that we're discussing here today, right? Cause there's certainly a level. There's several other individuals, right? That would fit right perfectly right here, just in terms of discography, right? And how impactful those projects were. But like we only have so many slots on the list, and like we'll be sitting here for hours just listing people and their accolades. You know, I mean, I'm just making an executive decision, you guys. Like, let me know in the comments who you think I missed here in the body of work discography discussion to you. Obviously, I'm probably missing a lot of people, and I know some people are gonna try to take my head off for it, but that's part of the beauty of the debate, right? Anywho, moving on. Category number 4. Influence and impact. Regarding impact and influence, all right, so as I had previously stated, anyone who is brought up in a GOAT conversation should at the minimum have some sort of significant impact on the genre or the culture, right? Is that wrong? Is that wrong to say, right? Because I don't think any GOAT conversation, especially when it comes to like the part about overall influence and impact, like no list actually makes any sense without including the man known and considered to be the founding father of hip-hop itself, right? DJ Kool Herc. And as a pioneer of the breakbeat DJ technique, he essentially laid the foundation for the genre, right? For what, because it was originally just a culture, and that culture expanded and formed what would become today's genre known as hip-hop, right? So with that being said, I'm just throwing Kool Herc's name in there because I think he definitely deserves high praise for that, because that's impact right there, man. Like, that's impact. Let's see. So with that being said, like, let's kind of see. Yeah, I'm taking a different route for this particular category because I don't know. I think impact and influence plays a very important role in who could be considered the greatest of all time, right? So let's see what other individuals helped shape the culture, helped shape and form the culture, right? So we got Run DMC, another pioneer level group that moved the culture forward, right? Because in a way, they helped showcase it to the mainstream audience by fusing rap with rock music elements. Especially when they made that collaboration with Aerosmith, Walk This Way. Y'all remember that track, of course, right? So like without them, it would be really, you know, like maybe hip hop might have taken longer. You know what I'm saying? I think that they influenced, and because of them, the culture did move forward, right? Now, I don't really think that they're in consideration to be in the actual greatest of all time conversation. However, I do want to give honorable mention and flowers to the Sugar Hill Gang because of what they did in 1979, guys. Like, they essentially sparked the fuse that allowed rap music to become one of, if not the currently most significant music genre in the current modern era, to me. Man, like, to this day, people still reference Rapper's Delight, right? I said hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. You say jump up the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie the beat. Come on, guys, that was a great one, right? I said hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. You say jump up the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie the beat. I can't even say it right. God damn it. Oh man, I'm tripping. All right. Yeah, but that was just a honorable mention because, come on, man, you got to show love to Sugar Hill Gang, man. Big respect to the Sugar Hill Gang, for real. Who else? Rakim. You absolutely gotta give it up to the God MC once again. Like, man, this man literally transformed the rap genre by basically changing the way that rappers rapped. Take that in. Like basically he changed the way the rappers rapped. Like when it came to their flow. I'm not gonna say that, oh, everyone started copying Rakim's like fucking rapping. No, he just changed the way that rappers thought about how they rapped on tracks based on like how they flowed on it, right? Like, honestly, and no disrespect to any of the golden era MCs, but before Rakim did what he did, I mean Rakim and also to a degree Big Daddy Kane, all of y'all MCs literally rap the same goddamn way with the same cadence. Yeah, honestly. Again, special shout outs to Big Daddy Kane too, man. Like, it was they were like A and B. I think Rakim and Big Daddy Kane were like an A and B when it came to like the growth of the rapper at the time in terms of like delivery and flow, right? Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. All right, moving on. We got Tupac. Of course, like Tupac. Okay. All right, Tupac, he did impact the culture on a different scale entirely, right? Like he not only like showcased his versatility with the ease that he was able to like switch between aggressive and compassionate songs. Like he made sure that the world basically understood that hip hop was more than just music, you know? It was an actual movement, right? And that impact alone to me is still felt to this day, as it really helped influence and inspire a lot of the artists of the modern age, you know? Like, you know what's kind of funny about that though? Like, it's almost like Tupac embodied a lot of the current subgenres that we have in hip hop music today, but he was like all rolled into one artist or one person. You know what I mean? Like that's that alone. That's impact right there. And not only that, I don't think any other artist matched the work ethic that Tupac had. You know, like the man literally made 6 songs per day. And if you have ever tried to make a song, you know, you understand how mentally draining that can be. Per song! Just one song in a day can be crazy. This man made 6. Like, on a daily basis. And I don't think we ever really kind of saw that level of dedication or that level of dedicated work ethic to the craft, right? At least not until like the rise of Lil Wayne, to be honest. But even Lil Wayne's rise, it wasn't even to the same degree that Tupac had taken it to, right? Nas, absolutely. You gotta say Nas. To me, like honestly, to me, Nas took the foundation that of what Rakim had basically set, and he elevated it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a considerable number of like artists you can see today that all developed their style after Nas, or after Nas and Jay-Z. Or after Nas, Jay-Z, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's an entire subsection of Nas type or like of Nas clone rappers. I'm not gonna say the names because that might get my ass flamed up. But likewise with Jay-Z, like there is a subsection of Jay-Z clone rappers, and you know, like there's a reason why to this day these two are always mentioned as inspirations and influences to the younger generation of the modern era, right? And like, speaking of clones, I really gotta mention this one. Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but one name that needs to be included only in this category and no other category, guys. Gucci Mane was the catalyst behind an entire subgenre. The man literally evolved the trap music genre for an entire generation. That and that alone cannot be diminished. We're not here to discuss Gucci Mane's lyrical skill or his technical ability or his bodies of work or anything like that. Just the sheer fact that he created, like he actually did influence an entire subgenre. Like this man evolved trap music genre for an entire generation, right? Like an entire generation. That alone cannot, like, you can't diminish what Gucci Mane did. Like, would we have gotten or even embraced artists like Future or Migos or even Young Thug if it wasn't for someone like Gucci Mane to hold the torch, to be the one to sit in the flames at the beginning when everyone was shitting on him, when everyone was like put the pounds in the trash can, Gucci do the dishes, don't nobody fuck with my kitchens. Yeah, I listen to a lot of music, guys. You'd be surprised, right? Like wait, you listen to Gucci Mane? Yeah, man. Like, I listen to a lot of music. Like, to be honest, influence and impact, it doesn't always have to associate with the best things. You know what I mean? Because as long as they're impactful, it's still doing something, right? Like, simply things that move the culture forward. Like, to a degree, I also blame Gucci for the rise of, like, the mumble rapper era that we had for a while, right? Because on a lot of his earlier works, sometimes he would rap and he sounded like he was kind of slurring his words or mumbling. That was probably due to the heavy amount of drug use and alcohol that caused him to literally slur his words and shit. right? And you know, the way things work for the younger generation, they'll find something unique and kind of run with it, make it a trend, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, because again, that's something that helps us to move the culture forward. But it's interesting. It's just interesting to think about it. And once again, I have to mention Kanye West, man. Like, this man came into the hip hop scene at a time when gangster rap was the only standard for being a successful rapper, right? Like, remember when Jay-Z said on Moment of Clarity, if skills sold, truth be told, I'd probably be lyrically Talib Kweli. Truthfully, I wanna rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mil. I ain't been rhyming like common sense. And for those that don't know, like the rapper Common, like when he first entered the rap scene in the early 90s, his stage name was originally Common Sense. Right, and his most famous song from back in the 90s, it was called I Used to Love HER. And the HER was an anagram for hearing every rhyme. A little backstory to I Used to Love HER, that was actually Common's diss to Ice Cube. You know what? I'ma save that for a future episode, because like there's a lot of fun in that story. Yeah, like, but Common was like one of the proponents of what was kind of deemed as like backpack rap, you know, or conscious rap. But that style just didn't like sell much. Like when you had like a whole influx of reality rappers and gangster rappers that influenced mainstream artists from the 90s to the early 2000s, right? So when this pink polo wearing nerdy dude was dropping these introspective and relatable rhymes over dope beats, people really started to take notice. And it seems that influence hasn't eased off the gas in like well over 20 years of him being on the scene. As like that influence alone, it's paved the way for other artists that would end up pushing the envelope of the alternative or nerdy lifestyle hip hop artists to also do 5 mil, in the words of Jay-Z. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And speaking about conscious rap though, right? Like, I would feel remiss if I didn't at least mention within this specific category the great KRS-One as one of the pioneers. I use this term so often, I noticed in this episode. Anyways, as one of the pioneers of both conscious and gangster rap. I know that sounds kind of oxymoronic, right? But if you really go back to the origins of what we call gangster rap, again, before it was gangster rap, it was reality rap. It was just MCs talking about the lives that they lived, or of the reality of the people around them that were living like that. You know, and then somewhere along the line, somewhere down the way, the message was lost, and it all turned into a big old dick swinging contest. Hey yo, message. I mean, like not a dick swinging contest is crazy. I mean, like a big bravado matching contest. You know, like as in, who's the baddest, or who's the hardest, or who's the meanest, like who's the toughest. You know, when you hear it listed like that, doesn't it kind of sound like some schoolyard nonsense? You hear it in that context? It's weird, right? Anyways, I say all that to say KRS is definitely a major influence on hip-hop. Outside of the music, he was also one of the first educators and philosophers to use hip-hop as an instrument for social change. And we absolutely need to applaud that. We actually need more KRS-Ones in today's modern age, because I feel like we don't have enough philosophers in the hip-hop community. I'll say that much. And I know some people would also throw Notorious B.I.G. in it as well, but this is gonna sound is gonna sound weird, but my only issue with this is, besides his rap style and his skill and his incredibly vivid storytelling ability, a lot of the influence, this is gonna sound so controversial. I'm so nervous just even saying this right now. A lot of the influence and impact that we garner from B.I.G. was either a product of his early passing, which helped elevate his status of influence, because we can only speculate on what levels of fame that he would have achieved. And I also think that it was also slightly bolstered by the marketing and production of one Sean P. Diddy Combs.
What?
I still think it's crazy that not a lot of people realize how much of Biggie's image, was shaped by Diddy himself. Right? Because remember when he was going through it with Tupac, and Tupac was having issues, and he was saying like, Biggie stole my whole style, like he started rocking Versace and all this. That was because Diddy's marketing, guys. Like, Diddy's the one that did that shit. Biggie dressed like a thug, like a gangster, like he dressed like a member of the Wu-Tang Clan until Diddy tried to like switch up his image a little bit, But that's neither here nor there, because I really don't want to sound like I'm hating on Big at all, because I want to give Big his flowers too. I just don't think his impact is as genuine without the influence of without the boost that he got from his passing. And that's not to say that Tupac didn't also get a boost from his passing, but before Tupac passed, he was already influencing and moving the culture forward in different ways, right? But of course, I cannot skip over Eminem. Because, like, besides the most obvious impact of him breaking down racial barriers by showcasing that even a white rapper can rap with the best of them, and not only that, Eminem was actually able to bring a new standard of technical skill to the hip-hop game, like the way his multi-syllable style wordplay, and like how he would like daisy chain rhymes and using phonetic patterns of rhymes that kind of sound the same, but they're not actually, they don't, like, it kind of helped raise the bar for lyrical skills, right? And that's part of the reason why you see many of the artists in the modern day, such as thriving in the modern day, like Kendrick, like J. Cole, like Logic, even Jid, like all of these guys, like when you listen to the way that they kind of craft their bars, sometimes you can definitely see some Eminem influence in there, and I say salute to M for that. Like, that's impact, that's influence, guys. Oh, and also, because of Eminem being accepted in the mainstream hip-hop scene, like, you gotta give him flowers for this too. Like, it gave room for hip-hop in general to be accepted or made more palatable to a more global audience. Like, him having star power alone, it literally helped other rappers' album sales. And in a roundabout kind of way, that kind of paved the way for successful careers of generations, of future generations, sorry. For example, someone like Drake, right? Because that's not to say that by the time Eminem came to the scene, rap wasn't already mainstream, because like groups like NWA had already done that with their songs, Fuck the Police and Straight Outta Compton. Like, they already had the younger generation that was already rebelling against their parents' generation. They already had those, because like, oh, you kids don't listen to this NWA Negroes with attitude type music. It's like, hold on, they're playing Fuck the Police on the radio, you know that type of mentality, that type of thinking, right? So in a way, obviously NWA did pave the way, but then you have someone like Eminem come through to blow the doors off the hinges, because then it's like, oh, hey, wait, this isn't just black people doing this, right? So white people can be just as good in a way, like, you know, that's kind of like how it kind of felt, right? See, now there's so many other people that we can include in this category that have actually impacted or influenced the genre to a large degree, but we'd be here all day long, right? So to button things up and throw in some honorable mentions here, as I mentioned, I think Lil Wayne for sure is impacted for future, like he impacted future generations. Good majority of the East Coast rappers from the 90s, I say, wouldn't be where they are without someone like Cool G Rap, Dr. Dre and NWA, as I mentioned, Scarface from the Ghetto Boys, Scarface, Andre 3000 as well, being the introspective juggernaut that he is, you know, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Marley Marl, of course, too, because like simply because I'm saying Marley Marl simply because him and the Juice Crew, right? The Symphony by the Juice Crew is still probably one of the greatest posse cut hip hop songs of all time. You had Craig Mack, you had Cool G Rap, you had Big Daddy Kane, you had all of these guys on the same song, and nobody outdid anybody else. Like everybody just snapped, right? Yeah, who else was on there? Master Ace. Like there was so many golden era legends on that. And if you've never heard the Symphony, oh my god, God help you, why are you even listening to this podcast? No, I'm kidding. Yo, I'm stupid. All right, man, but the list can go on, but I'll stop there. But let me know in the comments, though, who you think I missed, if any, and who you think deserves to be in consideration for the category of most impactful and most influential. Right. All right. Now we're on to category number 5: longevity and consistency. Now, there's different ways we can go through this particular category, right? Because if we're just being literal in terms of longevity, like who's been around the longest, you'd have to throw someone like LL Cool J into the mix, because as one of Def Jam's first artists at the age of 16, in what, like, I think they signed him like 1984 or something. Technically, the man, and he's still active, guys. He technically has not. Well, I mean, yeah. Didn't he drop an album last year? I think he dropped an album in 2024. Yeah. Holy crap! This man's still active. Wow. Okay. Nah, but real shit. When it comes to this category, it's really about which artist do you recognize as having long-lasting consistency in hip-hop, period, right? So with that being said, let's go through which ones are often mentioned most often when it comes to the discussion of the most consistent in hip-hop, right? This might also be another controversial or heavily debated category, but hey, it is what it is, y'all. Kendrick Lamar. He's often mentioned in discussion about who are the most consistent in hip-hop, right? Almost every one of the albums that he drops, they're always praised and considered classic in the modern era, right? One thing that does remain consistent about Kendrick throughout all of his albums is his ability to make concept albums that always have some form of social commentary, which really ties to the core of what hip-hop is, right? And because of that, he's shown that he consistently tries to embody the spirit of hip-hop on all his projects, right? Who else? Black Thought. In all my years listening to The Roots, I can personally say I don't think these guys have ever dropped a bad album, you know, and even in that one constant that remains throughout with the Roots it's not simply the fact that the Roots are known for being hip-hop's first legitimate band by actually using their own live instruments, but they're also like bolstered by the fact that, guys, that Black Thought himself is arguably one of the all-time greatest lyricists, period, dead or alive, right? Like, y'all really need to put some respect on Black Thought. If you haven't heard his 10-minute freestyle on Hot 97, you better go YouTube that right now. Go watch that shit right now. Put this on pause, go watch that, and then come back and continue. Because holy crap, that man is undeniable. How do you have a 10-minute straight freestyle of just no repeating bars? This guy's crazy. Crazy. Alright, Nas. You see, like, again, the one critique that Nas will often get from his fan base, especially throughout the early career, was, oh, Nas was a terrible beat selector. Here's the thing with Nas, though. Being known as like both a poet and an architect of hip-hop, like the way he put a spotlight on social commentary and like the way he was able to weave stories in his songs, like whether you thought the song was on a terrible beat or not, when Nas was rhyming, you were listening. And he's been keeping that same consistency going for 17 studio albums now. And that's not even counting his albums with other people. Like the one that he dropped with Damian Marley. Like, oh man, like, I can go on about Nas all day long, right? Jay-Z. Another one that has an unmatched longevity in hip-hop game. Like over 3 decades in the game and still in the conversation of the best of the best. Like no matter when he drops, one of the only hip-hop artists where his business and partnerships outside of hip-hop is one of the tenets that people associate with his greatness, right? Which to me is what leads to fans in the modern era using metrics that are usually outside of talent to kind of like gauge and determine what makes an artist or an individual the best. Like,
you're a victim.
I'm just gonna say like the current NBA as an example. You have the people who believe that Jordan is people like me who believe Jordan is the greatest of all time in the NBA, and then you have other individuals that believe LeBron is the greatest of all time in the NBA. But the only difference is the LeBron goats will say, or they'll use metrics that are not basketball related to make a case for him. It's like, oh, look how successful he is outside of basketball. And it's like, but we're talking about who's the greatest of all time in basketball. So how are you using metrics outside of... I'm doing it again, aren't I? All right. Back to the list, y'all. Back to the list. I'm going to throw in Pusha T. Yep, probably one of the he's quietly been one of the most consistent people on this entire list as one half of the greatest hip-hop duos of all time. Yeah, the Clips is... Come on, man. The Clips? Come on. Pusha has seen and consistently stood with the best of them throughout his illustrious career. And in that span, I find that you'll be pretty hard-pressed to find a Pusha verse that wasn't consistently at a top-tier level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking lyrically, delivery-wise, flow-wise. Like, Pusha's always been consistently rapping at a high level. And sometimes it does, like, going back to my last example, like the NBA example, like, honestly, like, doesn't it sometimes feel like hip-hop moves in lockstep with how the culture of the NBA evolves? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, because as we moved from the Jordan and the Kobe eras, again, I'm bringing it back. I entered the LeBron and beyond eras. It's, guys, this is why we coined the term the stats era, because now fans literally put a lot more stock in metrics that are outside of basketball, or they'll zero in on numbers, specific numbers of stats in the game, right, that an individual has garnered, and they'll use that to pedestalize them as the best, while downplaying the truly skilled individuals that may not actually be chasing stats or numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like the actually really skilled individuals that quietly do what they're supposed to do and are always lauded by their peers or their teammates, but they're not. I'm gonna say this: they're not gonna do like what Russell Westbrook did. That I don't even remember what year it was. What year was it when he literally averaged a triple double? That was literal stat chasing. If that's not stat chasing, I don't know what it. Because that was literally the definition. And the fact that everyone on his team at the time was enabling that behavior is just crazy, right? Because like, yo, if we're discussing longevity and consistency, objectively speaking, there's no way. Like, we're going back to let's get off the NBA topic, guys. Let's get off the NBA topic. Going back to the topic of consistency, right? There's no way that you cannot mention Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, aka introducing the Ghostface Killer. No one can get illa. You know, he's always been mentioned by both fans and critics as one of, if not the most consistent solo career in the entire Wu-Tang Clan. Arguably more consistent than Method Man's. Like, yeah, come on. He's also arguably one of the best storytellers from the group, if not the best storyteller in the group, right? One thing I will say that I wanted to refrain from specifically in this category was the mention of the artists whose lives were like cut short, you know, because this is why I actually have no mention of someone like Tupac or Biggie, or for example, in this specific category, because honestly, for me, I feel like although both of them absolute powerhouse talents and likely would have went on to achieve the same levels of commercial success that they did achieve in life as they have in death, but to me it feels like their careers received a heavy steroid injection upon their passing. You know what I mean? Like, cause one thing about deceased artists is that they turn into moments in time. Like, they're a frozen legacy, like one that can no longer truly be gauged, right? One that can no longer be scrutinized, because that individual no longer has a chance to make us change our opinions on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, Biggie passed after 2 albums. Well, technically he passed after 1, but so we can never say, yo, he had a bad album. Like, we'll never know, because we can only speculate that he probably would have went on to make several more amazing albums. Now, if he was a living artist and only stopped at 2 albums, would his legacy and like the discussion about his longevity still be brought up today to the same, in that same degree, right? Or would he have faded into obscurity with the other greats, right? Or like with the other greats of the once golden and silver eras of hip hop, right? So I say all that to say, to me, when it comes to this unique category, in an objective discussion about longevity, unless we're operating on an already skewed scale, I feel it's best if those that can be considered as gaining a boost due to passing before their time. It just wouldn't be fair to at least include them in this particular category. Other categories, sure, but like in this particular one about, you know, like consistency, right, and longevity, they have too much of handicap. You know what I mean? So that's why I wouldn't include them in that. All right, moving on. Category 6, commercial success and sales. You know, personally, my least favorite category. I honestly didn't even want to include this one because it's so...
You're a victim.
It's so easy. But this is about being objective. So the top nominees for this category are as follows. I'm just gonna breeze through this one. Eminem. I believe he still holds the title for highest selling rap artist with about 61.5 million certified units sold within the US and about 220 million sold worldwide. That is an insane number. Think about that. 220 million units of just music, of your music sold around the world. That is insane. And he's the only rapper with he's the only. This is great. This is a crazy stat, guys. He's the only rapper with 2 solo diamond certified albums. Those being the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show. Which are both great albums, by the way. Like, I remember when both of those came out, I was playing those until they got destroyed in my Walkman. Yeah, I'm old. Anyways, Jay-Z, a literal global icon at this point. Like, he came a long way from the Marcy Projects, a very, very long way from the Marcy Projects, to become recognized as hip-hop's first billionaire, even before Dr. Dre was hip-hop's first billionaire. Dr. Dre came close, but I think he hit like 800 million before Jay-Z hit a billion. It's crazy, right? And Jay has sold over 100 million units worldwide, and I think he still holds or he's tied for the he either holds the title for or he's tied for the most #1 albums on the Billboard hip hop charts or the Billboard charts for hip hop. Like, definitely, come on, man, that's undeniable. But Jay-Z needs to be on this category. Man, I've been talking so long, just stuttering through the whole thing right now, man. I don't even know what I'm saying. Tupac. I know. I chose not to include him in the last category simply because I chose not to include Biggie because I felt it was unfair to try to quantify where someone ranks in that category when they got the deceased legacy handicap to boost them in there. Like, you know, but in this category of commercial sales and success, I'm gauging it based on before his actual passing. Like, he truly did have like a profound impact on the culture through influential lyrics and commentary, and to date his albums have sold over 75 million worldwide, and also both his All Eyes on Me double album, which that one probably shouldn't count because that one dropped after he passed, and the Greatest Hits compilation album also dropped after he passed, have both also reached diamond certified status, right? But considering Greatest Hits is a compilation album, and again, it happened after he passed, that's why he's not really mentioned alongside Eminem in relation to like the diamond certified solo projects. But I guess you can also argue that it's semantics. But I mean, we can include Tupac in here with an asterisk. If you really want to be a stickler, I understand. Like, we can keep him as an asterisk. But I'm just saying, I'm gauging his his commercial sales before he actually passed, and he was like one of the most popular artists in the world at the time in the early 90s. After Tupac, of course, I gotta mention Notorious B.I.G. because, like, yo, if I'm mentioning Tupac, I gotta mention B.I.G., right? Simply on the fact that his second album, Life After Death, was certified diamond in the year 2000, which, if you think about it now, is a much rarer feat, especially for hip-hop. But I believe two things are true in this regard. Biggie definitely did get the death bonus to help boost his sales numbers, and also back then, I'm talking like late 90s, early 2000s, back then, people would buy music in physical mediums. Like, back then, it was harder for you to fake numbers or game the system, right? Like, back then, if the labels wanted to game the system, they would have to be willing to purchase a large number of units themselves. So, like, what are you doing? You're buying your own artist stuff. Like, you're not making anything out of that. You know what I mean? That's if they wanted to game the system, right? But like, nowadays it feels like people can just hire some AI bots to, like, run up your digital sales numbers, right? And honestly, I feel like it's all messed up now. But speaking of digital sales numbers, as one of the best-selling music artists globally in the modern era, honestly, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't add Drake to the list, at least in this category, right? In the modern digital streaming era, however, Drake has been and still able to sell well over 170 million records, and he also holds the record for most Hot 100 entries and top 10 entries and top 10 hits. Does he hold the record for that? Yeah, holds the record for the most Hot 100 top 10 hits. I think he has the most top 10 hits in the Hot 100. Yeah. Also, he's tied with Jay-Z for, I think, third place on the number one Billboard studio albums at 14. Was it Taylor has more at 15, and I think the Beatles still hold the record for most number one albums at 19. These are just insane. You know how hard it is for these people to get a number one album that many times? Like, you definitely have to include them on there, right? And if we're speaking of top hits, right? What about Outkast, right? Like, remember when I was talking about Speaker Box and The Love Below? Again, it being a double album. It's still technically one of the best-selling rap albums of all time. Like, it went 13 times platinum, guys. 13. And Kanye, of course, should be mentioned here as well, because he's sold well over 135 million records too worldwide. And at this point, I do think it's safe to say that we all miss the old Kanye. Like, with his newer projects, like, production wise, still amazing, but like, it's just not the same anymore, man. We definitely miss the old Kanye. All right, moving on to the final category, number 7, critical acclaim and peer recognition. So, Kendrick Lamar is widely regarded as one of the most influential and critically acclaimed contemporary rappers in the modern era. Come on, he's the only rapper ever to win a Pulitzer Prize ever. He made, come on, for music. That's crazy. Nobody else has ever done that. It's basically the first non-classical or jazz work to receive an honor in the music category, right? His albums are always praised for their deep storytelling, their social commentary, the innovative sound. This man has earned like at least 22 Grammy Awards. Is that not recognition? Like, is that not the accolades that most of these artists look to obtain? Right? the coveted music award, the Grammy. I mean, like, it doesn't really mean much anymore. But back then, like, the Grammys used to mean something. It used to hold a lot more weight. Jay-Z, again, still holds the record for the most Grammy Awards won by a rapper, with 25 wins, 3 more than Kendrick won. And he's consistently ranked at the top of various greatest rappers lists compiled by like industry publications like Billboard and Vibe. His longevity, his lyrical prowess, I guess you can say his business acumen, like all of these kind of like made him a defining figure in the genre, and of course well deserved, because he does get that peer recognition, right? And Nas, absolutely revered for his poetic and intricate lyricism. His debut album Illmatic, often cited as, come on man, often cited because it probably is one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. We might have to do an episode on the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, and I'm definitely putting Illmatic on there, that's for sure. Who is that? Alright. He's also very respected by his peers and critics for his authentic storytelling, the influence on subsequent generations of MCs. Like, come on, man. It's Nas we're talking about. Nasir Oludara Jones. Come on, man. Who else? We got Eminem, known for his technical skill, you know, his intricate rhyme schemes, his raw emotional honesty. He's still one of the best-selling artists of all time, and he's won 15 Grammy Awards. Like, his impact, again, like, it extends across genres and generations. And honestly, he's frequently included in the top tier discussions of lyrical mastery and whatnot. He's also, I mean, the pool is very small, but he's also, I guess, technically the greatest white rapper of all time, if we want to just go off that metric, right? Like, I think that's a foolish metric to go off, but people go off all types of metrics. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think though, right? Tupac. Yes, Tupac is absolutely a cultural icon, known for his powerful, socially conscious lyrics that addressed issues of injustice and intercity struggles. Like, come on, man, the song Changes, to this day, man, has any rapper made like an equivalent to the song Changes, right? Maybe, I guess maybe you can kind of argue Kendrick's Damn is sort of kind of like a version of Changes in a way, because he's telling you to be, no, not Damn is the name of the album. What's wrong with me? Humble. Do you see? I've been staring at the screen too long. I'm like struggling out here. Yeah. Because I mean, like, honestly, despite Tupac's short career, like his emotional depth, revolutionary voice, it literally does continue to make profound impact and earns him lasting peer recognition. To this day, all these years later, when did he pass? 95? 96? I think it was 95 or 96. It's been almost 20 years, it's been almost 30 years, and Tupac is still regarded by all peers, whether that's newer generation or the older generation, still regarded. So I think he definitely does deserve to be part of that category. Other artists who consistently receive high praise and peer recognition, I'd say the Notorious B.I.G., because he's a master of flow, like vivid storytelling. He kind of helps shape East Coast rap as well. Like, a lot of New York rappers kind of try to take after him, you know? Like, even he kind of influenced Jay-Z as well. Like, the way Jay-Z puts together his bars, like, he doesn't write anymore, and that's because the way Biggie taught him. Because Biggie never wrote down his bars. He remembers them in his head, takes a minute, and then just, like, one takes it in the booth. So you got to give him credit for that, man. Like that's recognition right there, because like if people are taking after, if I'm recognizing Jay-Z as an influence, then I gotta recognize one of the people that influenced Jay-Z to do the same thing. I mean, technically I can say Jaz-O as well, but like Jay-Z doesn't rap like he did when he was under Jaz-O. He raps more in the slow flow, more in the way that Biggie does. So I feel like he was more influenced by Biggie after Biggie passed. Yeah. Dr. Dre is a foundational figure for the West Coast rap and G-Funk. Recognized more for his monumental production work and influence on artists like Snoop Dogg and Eminem. Like if we're talking about, I didn't wanna include him in the greatest of all time mention, but somebody under the purview of Dr. Dre, again, R.I.P. to him. I guess I can throw him in as honorable mention, but Nate Dogg, R.I.P. to Nate Dogg, man. Like the true voice of G-Funk. Like this man changed the way a lot of rappers decided to like try making hooks on like rap, on gangster rap songs, right? Like he really did change a lot of the way the people think, and to this day, I don't think anyone was able to really. People have tried, but nobody's really been able to recreate that Nate Dogg sound, or at least successfully on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Kanye, I'd say, is also noted for his innovative production and boundary pushing artistry with numerous critical and commercially successful albums. Again, Andre 3000 of Outkast. Come on, man. Nobody ever has anything bad to say about Andre 3000. We love you, 3000, man. Andre 3000 is dope. Like, genre-bending style, inventive approach to the art form. Come on, man. The art of storytelling, international players anthem. Like, man, Andre is dope, man. So, all right. Wow, that was a long one, right? So now that we've sort of established our contestants, I think I mentioned about 32 names, maybe give or take. If I missed anyone, then it means they likely only hit a single category or are honorable mention. But let's try tallying up the numbers based on which ones showed up in the most categories. So in no particular order, let's take a look at some of these. I think Rakim in the B tier, Nas in S tier, Eminem's B, Jay-Z S+, Notorious B.I.G. B, Andre C, Black Thought C, Cool G Rap C, Big Daddy Kane D, Kendrick C, MF Doom E, Method Man E, Jadakiss E, Mos Def E, Redman E, Big L E, Kanye B, Gucci E, Lil Wayne E, Outkast E, Tribe Called Quest E, Clips E, Pusha E, Kool Herc E, Run DMC E, Sugar Hill Gang E, Tupac C, KRS E, Dr. Dre E, Ghostface E, Scarface E, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 E, Marley Marl E, Drake E. Whoa, really? E for Drake? Okay. Slick Rick E. Weird, I thought Drake would have at least been... Okay, alright. So, wow. This is... What? Okay. I guess it's safe to say that, the objective greatest of all time in hip-hop is Sean Jay-Z Carter, with a record of a perfect 7 category mentions. He's literally touched every single one of the categories that we used for our objective metrics. Jay-Z is objectively the greatest rapper of all time. There it is. Nas is still better than him to me personally, but that's if we're being subjective. Damn, what? Come on, man. Because again, I have to reiterate, for the artists that we elevate due to them passing early, I've been a huge fan of Tupac since the 90s, man. Like since I stole the Tupac CD from my older sister's room and just started bumping that. Like, you know, like he was my go-to. But like literally in the early 90s, he was my go-to. I didn't even appreciate Biggie because like I was Team Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And like, but I can be fair, guys. Like I can be fair, and I can say that he was only a decent storyteller. His lyrical depth was decent, but it wasn't as complex or as vivid as Notorious B.I.G.'s wordplay. But Tupac definitely did have a better emotional nuance. Definitely had more impact than a lot of Biggie's songs. Now, the thing with both of these guys, though, is that, again, they're both frozen in our memories forever, right? We will never truly get to see them. We'll never see them fail in the sense of like a natural fan fatigue or like, oh, this album wasn't it, or like, you know, we'll never naturally get that, right? So remember the saying, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And something absolutely needs to be said for someone whose career has been as long as it has been for Jay-Z to maintain such a high level in every category for well over 30 plus years. Like, that truly has to be commended, honestly. And just going a little further now, for me, I believe that there's a difference between a GOAT and a GOAT, aka a greatest of all time contender, and what I like to dub as peacocks in the gallery. Like,
what?
These are individuals or groups that can be considered as great in one particular category, but may fall short in some others, right? Like, you can have someone like Drake, who is obviously undeniable as a commercially successful artist. Like, he's tied with Jay-Z with 14 number one albums on the Billboard charts. And I think, again, that they're only behind Taylor Swift and the Beatles. But then the questions come into play when it comes to his actual technical skills. Like, he's had a history of accusations about using ghostwriters and reference tracks, and now to me, if you're in contention to be considered the greatest in your particular field, in this case being hip-hop music, which leans heavily on the ability of the artists themselves, like, you know, like how can we gauge or consider someone as the greatest when sometimes the rhyme scheme or the wordplay or even the entire song concept was developed in the mind of someone else? Like, you're basically you're performing someone else's work. You're a karaoke singer at that point.
What?
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think that should technically remove you from consideration of being the greatest of all time. And I say all that to say that there's nothing wrong with peacocks, right? Like, we love peacocks. We need them. But to me, I think you need like maybe more than maybe like a 3 to 4 category minimum to be like in the conversation for actual greatest, for actual GOAT. Like, you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're just like a highly elite peacock or something like that. You know, you're just a peacock in the gallery that's really elite, right? Unless we're talking about who's the greatest peacock, then we can have a different conversation, right? Who's the greatest peacock? Now that could be a crazy debate.
You're a victim.
But yeah, man, like, that's the list. Like, if we went based on my personal selections for greatest of all time, I don't think I'd put Jay at number 1 as the one above all. Like, really? No, personally, I wouldn't. But it is what it is. But tell me what y'all think of the list, man. Cause like, comment if you agree with the list or not. But and if you disagree, please let me know who you think should be the objective GOAT using this same 7 category metric, right? All right. Like, yo, I can already feel some of y'all yelling at me through your screen. Like, what is this list? Nah, I'm already getting ready for like the follow-up episode to this. Like, I know some of y'all are gonna hit me up because y'all probably wanna rip my head off for this list. Maybe I'll get some of y'all on a panel to discuss debate, and we'll have like a whole panel debate podcast episode to see who you think deserves to be on the list and who you think was snubbed. Yeah, but with all that being said, damn, this is a long one, I'm signing off, y'all. Salute to the outro. Peace.